President William Ruto is in Kisumu for a high-stake 4-day development tour of the Nyanza region running from March 20th to March 24, 2026, combining major infrastructure groundbreaking with a political engagement that carries significant weight ahead of the 2027 general election. The president arrived at port of Kisumu on the evening of March 19th, where Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o received him before proceeding to State Lounge. The visit places him at the heart of a region that has historically leaned towards the opposition, and his program is structured to deliver visible development announcements that reinforce the government commitment to Western Kenya. President Ruto's first engagement on March 20th, a public holiday declared to mark the Eid al-Fitr, is an end Eid of lunch with Muslim leaders at Statehouse Lodge in Kisumu, scheduled to begin at 1 p.m. The event brings together religious leaders and community from across the Nyanza region to mark the end of Ramadan in the company of the head of state. Following the luncheon, the president convened a high-level meeting with elected Nyanza leaders at around 4 p.m. at the same venue. The discussions are expected to center on the status of the ongoing government projects, regional development priorities, and the pipeline of infrastructure investment tied to the administration's broader national agenda. The Nyanza leg on the tour follows a major stop in Narok County on March 19, where President Ruto launches the first phase of the Naivasha-Kisumu-Malaba standard gauge railway extension at Narok Technical Training College in Suswa. The project, valued at over 500 shillings billion, has been stalled for more than 6 years due to funding constraints. At the Narok ceremony, Ruto broke ground alongside China Communication Construction Company chairperson Song Liang, who met the president at Statehouse in Nairobi on March 18 to finalize the implementation partnership. The CCC is appointed as the lead contractor, working in the coordination with Kenya Railways. At, at the Narok ceremony, President Ruto directly dismissed critics who had previously described the railway extension as a project going nowhere, insisting the government is operating on a clear and deliberate infrastructure strategy. He frames the SGR extension as a critical economic intervention rather than a symbolic gesture, describing the 262.3 kilometers Nairobi Kisumu Phase 2B section as a strategic corridor connecting Western Kenya's production agricultural zone directly to the national rail network. He notes that Western Kenya generates significant volumes of tea, maize, sugar, rice, and fishery produce, all requiring efficient transport to link to reach markets at a competitive cost. The centerpiece event of the Nyanza League is scheduled for March 21, 2026 at Kibos in Kisumu County. At that ceremony, President Ruto hosts Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni for the formal groundbreaking of SGR Phase 2 at Kibos, and on the same day break ground on the 108-kilometer Phase 2C section linking Kisumu to Malaba at the Uganda border. The combined phases establish a continued railway artery of nearly 1,000 kilometers from Mombasa to Malaba, connecting Kenya's both infrastructure to Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir confirmed full readiness following an inspection tour on the Kibos site, describing the railway as a transformation infrastructural shift that will move bulk cargo from road to rail and reduce transport costs across the entire region. He said the government is committed to ensuring construction timelines are strictly observed and all that land compensation process are completed in parallel with the early work phase to avoid the delays that affected previous infrastructure corridor. Anyang Nyong'o, the governor for Kisumu, called on Kisumu residents to turn out in large numbers on the March 21 ceremony, describing it as an historic moment for the country and the Lake region. He frames the SGR extension as more than a transport upgrade, arguing it will lower logistic cost, stimulate industrial growth, expand agricultural value chains, and attract investment in warehousing, cold storage, fishery processing, and manufacturing facility along the corridor. An earlier preparatory meeting held on February 26 brings together Anyang' Nyong'o, members of County Assembly and members of Parliament, National Assembly, National Land Commission official, and the Kenya Railways technical team to finalize readiness for the construction launch. Kenya Railways Managing Director Philip Mainga confirmed that the Naivasha-Kisumu Phase 2B section target the completion by June 2027. The line included 7 stations with 6 intermediate stops at Mulot, Narok, Bomet, Sotik, Sondu, and Hairo, along with a main terminal at Kisumu West. The infrastructure includes 79 bridges covering 43 kilometers, 8 tunnels spanning 4.26 kilometers, and 376 culverts. The Kisumu Malaba Phase 2C section feature intermediate at Yala and Mumias with additional crossing point through Siaya, Vihiga, Kakamega, and Busia counties. A key component of the project include an 8.69-kilometer branch line connecting the railway directly to the proposed new Kisumu port to enhance lake transport and regional logistic capacity. The National Land Commission identified Kisumu County as having the highest numbers of project affected person along the SGR corridor. The NLC Director Joel Ombati say a digital platform is being used to map land parcel and ownership data with compensation targeted for completion within 8 months of construction commencement.